Hello, Virgo. This is Angel Aura Divination, and I'm here to give the sign of Virgo their end of June 2021 general tarot and oracle reading. Um, I suggest listening to the collective reading that I posted at the beginning of this series of readings if you are interested in some more general listening, as well as listening to the other readings associated with your own placements in your birth chart as well. I already started this reading, but mysteriously, so mysteriously, um, it got cut off, and the video didn't even get saved, and the whole app got closed. So, yeah. Anyway, I already have your oracle cards pulled out. I'm using the Energy Oracle and the Sacred Destiny Oracle, as well as the Universal Tarot to give you some messages for this time period. All those, what are they? Decks are linked in the description of my collective reading. So go check that out if you want that information as well. The first energy oracle card that we have out for you is the World. This, to me, kind of gave me the impression that you were going through a spiritual awakening where you're kind of seeing things from a different perspective. You're starting to realize that things that were one time very important to you are now going to be more important than some other things, or some of those things that at one time were very important to you might be falling to the side as well. This is a 29 reducing down to an 11, being about an awakened mindset, and also 11 reducing down to a 2 talks about personal duality, where you might be seeing yourself step outside of the identity that you used to have, which seems to be the theme for these readings this week, where it's about labels, identity, and who you are when you are not who you are supposed to be, basically. The card also kind of says that this is all going to be changing the way that you communicate or even create in the future, especially if you're some kind of artist or creative person. The way that you express your thoughts is going to change because of the spiritual awakening that you're going through, or the shifts that you might be experiencing as well. The next card out that we have is Courage. Now this card is saying basically that you are going to have to be standing against the current a little bit, and also be able to withstand the crashing of the waves on your own personal shore. You might even be experiencing some spiritual attacks that might be preventing you in some ways from moving forward, but do not let them stagnate you, because that is their purpose. And once you give spiritual attacks or psychic attacks or anything of that nature power, you start to realize, or they start to realize, really, whoever it is that is attacking you, or whatever it is that is, trying to prevent you from going on your own journey, they start to realize that they have power over you, because it initiates that fear. They kind of, a lot of, okay, they feed on fear. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that, because you might also be going through a personal journey or an upgrade, in the sense that you are starting to also notice that you might have some other abilities. That's all I can say. Because when I said what I wanted to say in this reading, that's when the video got cut off. So just have a greater understanding that sometimes courage means standing up, even if it means stepping outside of your own self. What that means, spiritually speaking, is that you are someone, whoever it is that listens to this reading and who understands what I'm saying to you, who can really change things if you put in the effort to find yourself grounded in your own reality and still be able to see a different perspective outside of the reality that you are currently in. So let's get some tarot cards out to talk about this energy for you right now, Virgo. We have the Eight of Swords talking about mental imprisonment, and this is exactly what I was talking about, actually, interestingly enough. You are going to be able to escape some of these mental prisons that you are in when you choose to allow yourself to do so. It takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of ability on the mental state, which might even be part of the reason why you have experienced some of these experiences that you've had in your own life, and you might start to notice that as you go down your own path, where you have been faced with the need to intellectualize a lot of things. You've been placed in situations where you had to visualize outcomes and things like that before they actually, possibly even before you could actually put action or effort towards them, because you are ahead of the rest. But that's all my guides are letting me say, even though I wanted to say something else. We have the Five of Wands here. The Five of Wands talks about conflict, but really this is a message from my deck, from my guides as well, that you need to move beyond the conflict. And this is really also talking about like the need to meditate, the need to connect deeper to yourself, because you need to ascend beyond the judgments that you have of yourself based on what other people think. You need to ascend beyond the need to have a spiritual connection to the universe in the way that other people have theirs, because you are different, or you have the potential to be very different. And what I was seeing in those cards, you have the potential to be very different. We have the King of Pentacles coming out, saying that you might even be a master in the material realm. I need confirmation, because they are saying some stuff. You might be a master in the material realm. You might have a lot of money because of the experiences that you've had. Okay, that's where they're leading this. The experiences that you've had in the past. This is the Page of Pentacles. You might even have a stronger relationship to a higher guide that gives you abundance. But you also might be connecting to that child self-healing, inner child healing. What? Anyway, you're healing yourself by having abundance that you might not have had in the past or had during your childhood, but this can also be past life energy, where you are connecting to that past self that you were, or even the guides that you have, so that you can have more for the future as well. And that's only part of the journey, because it's kind of like who you were in your past life, you're going to ascend beyond, right? And so at this current point, one thing that you may be mastering, especially as an earth sign placement, because Virgos are earth signs, is mastering the material realm. What comes after that? Because that's what I was seeing in the cards. What comes after mastering the material realm? Where do you go from there? And that's your food for thought. I could end the reading right now, because that was the main part of the message, honestly. The next card that we have out is the Queen of Pentacles. So you might even be meeting someone or dealing with somebody who might, chill out. You might be meeting or dealing with somebody who is very valuable to you, possibly somebody who can share in the abundance that you accumulate, or possibly somebody who can also create abundance as well in a similar manner, or even in a different manner. For example, if you are somebody who, and the cards are kind of saying that this person's very grounded, but I actually was kind of seeing that this could be an individual who is not necessarily, like, if they were an earth sign, or if they had earth sign energy, they're not like an earth sign sun. The Queen of Pentacles might have a different placement, and the King of Pentacles, but this can also be a representation of you, where you're going to find an equal in this material abundant energy that you're in, possibly even a past life relationship that might even help you ascend beyond the need to only focus on the material realm. Oh, okay, that's confirming everything I thought. Okay, so this person might be a fire sign as well. Especially for the masculine Virgos listening to this person might also be a fire sign or have a fire sign placement. This person could also possibly be a practitioner, or they could have a spiritual connection to their past life as well, or possibly even to their own higher guides, who would be more of protective deities, they say, or protective guides, because not everybody worships deities or works with deities. I work with deities, but that's just me, right? So, yeah. But anyway, or if this is a representation of you, then I still think that a lot of this message is going to resonate if there are feminine Virgos listening to this. I don't think that this is going to be I don't think that the energy around you is going to say that you can only have this if you're masculine or feminine. I think the feminine Virgos will also be experiencing the same phenomenon that I'm describing here, where you will be able to start stepping outside of yourself to have stronger relationships. Like this, I do see a relationship between a masculine and a feminine here, where the feminine is the more ascended individual on the spiritual realm, and the masculine is the more powerful in the material realm. I don't think that they're necessarily quote unquote ascended, because that would give the wrong impression, right? And the Page of Pentacles being that there's something that the masculine has to offer the feminine. There's something that the feminine has to offer the masculine, with the Queen of Pentacles here, but they offer different things. The masculine offers abundance. The masculine offers possibly even emotional or mental or even financial or stability. That they just said, just cut it straight, stability. And the feminine offers this kind of like compassionate, very friendly, very supportive, very abundant energy, but it's not necessarily about the finances for this individual, even if they have money, right? So the next card that we have out, or the next two cards really, is the Three of Cups and the Star. I think a lot of healing will occur between these two individuals in this relationship. I also think, though, that these individuals might end up just being friends. So it's kind of like friends who happen to celebrate over the spoils of the fat wraps that they make, okay? And the Star is saying that this is healing some of that past life energy in this life. The next energy oracle card that we have out is the Storm Warning. So there's going to be big changes that are going to occur for you, especially after you reconnect with this individual that I'm speaking of in this part of the reading. Storm Warning is a 10, reducing down to a 1, being about new cycles. But these are new cycles after old like paradigm shifts happen. So like a lot of things are going to be pushed out of your energy. And this could even be the energy of you kind of blowing yourself out of the water in a spiritual sense, where you might have learned about who you were in a past life and you were like blown away by who you were. But then you start to realize who you're supposed to be in this life is supposed to be a little bit better. And you start to actually kind of imagine and even see that happening for yourself, because we have Gateway here. And this Gateway card is kind of a representation that you are going to be stepping through that portal of even self-awareness and saying to yourself, I know who I was in my past life, and I know that I'm supposed to do better in this life because I've learned all of that stuff spiritually, and now I can dream it into reality like this unicorn. I can dream it into reality. And it's from that mental expansion of the spiritual work that you do. Even if a lot of destruction or a lot of chaos and change occurs with the Storm Warning energy, it's still going to open you up to a new cycle. So let's get some cards out for Storm Warning and Gateway for Virgo. And you are going to be waiting. So it's kind of like you might even be waiting for the storm to come in certain aspects of your life. And really, I'm being guided to say that you really just need to make it happen. But I don't know if that's necessarily true. Yup. You need to make it happen. There's action that needs to be taken from Virgo, regardless of masculine, feminine, or any of that, because I don't think this is all about relationships. I think this is also about your personal ascension. There is action that you do need to take, especially in the realm of communication or thought. This could even be kind of what I was saying about this stepping outside of yourself. You might be a very earthly person. You're a very stable, very calm individual who's very, not cerebral, but very grounded in reality. But you need to kind of step outside of that and you utilize some of this air energy to really figure out how you're going to talk to other people, or figure out how you're going to communicate with others, especially if this has to do with any kind of ascended abilities. The next card out that we have is the Emperor, talking about your need or ability to also control or even alter, okay, especially with the Storm Warning, because they're saying you need to control or alter your fate, basically. And with Storm Warning and Gateway, I think that this is also going to be kind of an opening where you're going to start to realize that the chaos in your life right now can be changed, or that you can utilize that chaotic energy within yourself to shift your reality into something that you can control, because basically the message for that, and they just said it very clearly, reality is malleable for you. And it's kind of like, and that's even kind of bringing up a topic that I actually haven't spoken on in this reading. So, wow. Okay. We have the Six of Swords. And a lot of this comes because of the fact that you've kind of stepped away from chaos. And you've moved away from a lot of chaotic situations in your own life. So you've kind of learned how to manifest in that energy, create in that energy of chaos, where as other people get focused on the drama and focused on the bullshit, you know, we have the Two of Wands, and a lot of that's because you're able to see beyond the actions or the thoughts or the even the attempts of destruction that other people place on you. Yup. Attempts of destruction. And here's a representation of the thing. It's almost kind of like this is who you were, you know, when you were experiencing chaos. And this is also kind of an omen, basically saying that this is possible for you as well. We have the Two of Swords and we have the Tower. The Two of Swords is kind of an energy of things not really coming together because of a mindset that really lacks the foresight to make those things happen, right? And you're in this energy with Storm Warning and Gateway, where you're trying to really manifest out in the chaos a new beginning or even an upgrade for yourself, so where you can really control your fate, which is a very big manifestation kind of energy, although it's not necessarily manifestation in that way because it's kind of almost alchemy. And so while you're in a very restrictive energy with the Two of Swords, you're restrictive. Oh my God. Okay, you're restrictive, or you're restricted, excuse me. But at the same time, when you stop moving and everybody around you is swirling through the hurricane and, you know, life is over and this is happening, and a lot of people might even be telling you things about your own experience that are not true. What you bring in is this chaotic energy that the universe gives to you that you can then absorb and use to create something new. And in that is alchemy for you. Which leads me to the next part of your reading. We have the Door to Value opening for you. Money, abundance, financial stability, creation, things that you've never seen, experiences that you wouldn't even have imagined if you were not able to expand your mindset outside of the chaotic experiences that you've had in the past, right? This is a 31 reducing down to a 4, 4 being about the 4 elements, also being about earth energy, which is interesting because we had the world in the beginning of the reading, and I saw the world as this ascended perspective of the universe and of the world itself, and why the world is valuable to us, right? We have the Door to Value, and it's kind of like you're starting to realize that your own abilities are things that can be valuable. And you also, I don't think that some of you know this, but the things that are being expressed in this reading are not things that people just naturally know how to do. And that's all I can say about that. The next card that we have out is Wonders. So fluorite might be very important for you right now, as well as regular clear quartz crystal, because that's what's actually pictured here. But I also see fluorite because of the colors. This is kind of a representation of... This is kind of a representation, though, of your connectedness to the universe and also utilizing these tools that you have to really make the universe work for you. You know, it's kind of like we've been given this opportunity to really know what crystals are about, to know what herbs are about, to know what fire does. We were gifted fire, you know, to know what electricity does. You know, and a lot of these things, like, I don't know if any of you watch like documentaries about space, but that's where my guides are kind of leading me. It's kind of like we get a lot of those things from outer space. We get a lot of those things from outside of this earthly realm. Even the planet that we're made on, or the energy that we're made out of, is created in that alchemical combustion of the stars, as they are calling it in my head, right? You are going to start realizing that there are tools to your own disposal that will allow you to manifest abundance for yourself. And it might even be in ways that you did not previously think you'd be able to do, or in ways that you did not previously think that you would, feats that you did not think you'd be able to perform and things like that. I'm not saying that you're like, you know, I'm not saying that you're the next Messiah, right? But I am saying basically that you are capable of more than you have been told you are, which is why the video got cut off and deleted when I was halfway through the reading. but I explained it a lot better than I started out with, so let's keep going. We have strength. Some of the trials and tribulations that you have had have landed you in a space where you have to confront them, you have to deal with them. And I'm seeing strength as a representation of you dealing with the shadow self and then realizing that there are aspects of you that you just have to work with. And this is working with that shadow energy, which is really what this Queen of Wands person was able to do. What this Queen of Wands person was able to do. The black cat is a representation of the same energy, but she's tamed it. Whereas the person in strength is still working to tame the beast, right? But her beast is bigger anyway, which is a representation of you, Virgo, regardless of your gender. And connecting outside of yourself, you're starting to realize that it's not just about logic, and it's not, for some of us on this plane, it's not just about what you can talk about in therapy, right? It's the next card that we have out is the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is an indication of walking away from a battle, but it can be about walking away from a battle before it started, which is what my guide said, but it can also be about walking away from a battle after it's over. And this battle could have been either been initiated by air sign, Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini. But also this is a representation of you walking away from battles of ego, where you were coming from an ascended place and people around you weren't, or possibly where people around you were coming from an ascended place, possibly specific individuals, and they, like, either you walk away from those situations and you then that leads you to ascend further after realizing that some of these people were correct about some of the things that they were saying to you. Or what I'm really feeling is that you walk away from situations where you realize that people were coming from an egoic standpoint, where they were coming from a place where they did not want to understand your own perspective, and they kind of blocked you out. And now they want possibly, and when they come back to you, you are going to be guarded against them. You know, you are going to use that same control tactic, as my guides are calling it, to really prevent destruction or disillusionment, but also destruction. Which for some could also be manipulation, is what I was really picking up on as well. We have the Ten of Wands and the Devil coming out. Fine. I'm gonna need a card for confirmation on that, though. For the Devil, please. Great. Okay, so some of you might have a guide that brings you abundance because you connect energetically to a source that is related to abundance that has been demonized over time, which is what the Devil is saying. The reason why I'm saying that is because the Devil is associated with the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn is the sign of abundance. The Devil is a representation of the pagan ideas of God and godlike forms that we have casted out over time, really through an attempt to pull humanity away from a more enlightened consciousness that would have allowed us to enjoy our lives on a regular basis after we were conceived. You know what I mean? Anyway, we have the Ten of Wands. So this brings a lot of responsibility, though, because when you are given the power to manifest, and the power that I've described in this reading, it's kind of like that chains you to a certain responsibility that you don't necessarily want to always have to uphold. Now, the Ten of Wands in regular tarot, that would be an indication that you might be able to put some of these burdens down, but I think that you're going to have to live with certain things that have occurred in your own life for a long time. Now, the last card that we have out for this reading, besides the card for advice, is the Magician. We've gone over a lot of energies here, but the Magician is kind of summing up everything that I was saying, and it's kind of like this is me describing your magician energy. You've learned how to use your mind as a resource here, and now you're also being given some of those resources to actually do that alchemy that the Magician does, to actually do the mental work to understand how to do that alchemy as the Magician does, to possibly connect to forces outside of yourself as the Magician magician does, and you might even find a Leo placement person who is around you doing the same thing. The reason why I'm saying that is because we have strength in the magician, and I'm starting to notice that when strength and the magician are out, these are representations of a very similar energy that I was picking up on with the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands, where strength is a representation of somebody who works with that the shadow energy of themselves to have a deeper connection to the universe, right? Which would allow this person to have an expanded consciousness. The person in the magician card, the magician, as you would call him, is somebody who has an expanded consciousness because he works with very limited resources to create alchemical expansion, which is also an expanded mindset. It creates an expanded mindset because of the creativity. It's like the creativity to have a lion as a pet, the creativity that humans have had to make wolves into pets, and also we use them as tools at certain times as well. Dogs, you know what I mean? And the creativity that an individual would have to do alchemy and to utilize something as physical and something as restrictive as the concept of modern science to create something that wouldn't otherwise be deemed unperceivable or inconceivable to do. Now, this is a lot of metaphor, actually, they're saying, because it's kind of like you might be able to do a lot of things and you might know how to do a lot of things, but this is also kind of your guides communicating that you are also becoming this individual. And it's kind of, and yep. And it's really about the decisions that you take, with the indecision coming out for your card of advice. This is an 8, which is exactly that. It's that infinity symbol on its side, where this is about expansion of the mindset. You're going to be faced with a lot of decisions on where to go and who to be, and this is just one of them. And it's almost kind of like this is an expression of your loss of innocence here, Virgo. And that's all I have to say for you. I mean, I hope this resonated for you. This was kind of a weird and kind of intense reading. If you liked the video, leave a like. Also leave a comment if it resonated for you. I would appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. And find me on my other social media, which is also linked below. Good luck in your own journey, Virgo. Practice some spiritual protection, if you know what I mean. Good luck. Goodbye.